Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Permanent Record Podcast. I'm Sarah, and of course, I'm here with Brian, and we have a new feature for you. This is something we're going to call Mini Concert Memories, right, Brian?
That's right, the PRP Mini Concert Memories.
Yeah.
For lack of a better name. And of course, there's no music here in the beginning. We don't have a nice little production for this because we don't know if we're going to do more than this one. We'll see how it goes.
Right. This is our pilot episode, I guess you could say, of this new feature.
It came into my mind to do something like this because I've been working on this little project where I'm going through our years and years of concert tickets.
Yeah.
And I'm putting them in a little photo album with a handwritten note for each ticket stub where I'm writing down something that I remember from that show, just so years from now I can go back and say, well, I don't remember this concert at all, but at least I have this note. Right. I did remember this at one point. And I said, well, maybe it would be cool to just talk about different concerts. And for this episode, it's just me and you, but maybe in the future, we could get people who were at these shows or, saw a show on the same tour to join us. And we could talk about seeing the band in concert for that tour, have some of our regular guests like Andrew or Tony or Brian, if there's a band that they're particularly into.
Yeah.
It'd be a good chance to have some guests and especially some people that we haven't ever had the chance to talk to on the podcast before. Like when we get to Erasure, like getting the mighty Nick Oswald on here would be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. I'm excited to try it out with you, see how it goes. And it'll be good for us both to test our memory skills, see what we can remember, and record it so that we don't have to worry about forgetting it years from now.
Right. So these episodes are going to be relatively short.
Yeah.
And in the case that we don't remember anything from the show, they're going to be really short.
Right. So for this one, I guess we have one picked out, but I think in the future, your idea was to kind of randomize it, right?
Yeah, just draw a ticket stub out of the big stack.
Yeah.
And get what we get. But for the first one, since our podcast started 5 years ago with Yazoo upstairs at Eric's, I figured maybe it would be cool to start the first episode of this little exercise with Yazoo on the 2008 tour.
I love it.
The Reconnected tour.
Yes, I think that's a fantastic idea because, my gosh, what a great show that was. What a great opportunity it was, too, to see it.
That was unbelievable because who would ever think that you would get to see Yazoo in concert? I mean, they hadn't done anything since like 1983, 84.
I know.
Together, I mean,
Yeah.
You just said like, oh, that's a missed opportunity. I never saw them and I never will.
Right.
I just have these two albums that they recorded that are so awesome that I still love listening to them today, but I'm never going to get to see them.
Yeah, and you made peace with that because they weren't talking. They weren't really collaborating or anything like that. And when this news came out, it was mind-blowing.
It was totally crazy. And then I think for the U.S., there were only going to be like 2 shows or something initially.
Yeah.
It was a very limited number of shows, one in New York City. I think there were some in Los Angeles maybe.
Yeah.
And we got tickets for the New York show.
That's right. Yeah, we did.
And we were really excited about that, although you were more excited than me just because I sort of hate traveling to New York.
Yeah.
Get a little stressed out. And, of course, we're getting ready to travel to New York in a couple of days, which we'll mention here at the end as we tell you what we have planned for the next real episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
So it was worth it. I was like, well, I'm not too excited about going to the big city, but to see Yazoo, it's totally worth it. But then, of course, they announced, due to the success of those couple shows, they expanded the tour.
Yeah.
And we got to see them at a place that we had been to a number of times in Washington, D.C.
Right.
Which was the 930 Club.
Indeed. Yeah, that's a nice little venue. It's been around a long time. Had different locations, but there's always been some place called the 930 Club.
And that's a place, if we keep doing these random concert shows, there's a certain concert in this stack that was at the 930 Club where I have a run-in with the law, which I can regale people with.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
My story about me and the police. But that's not for this concert.
Nope.
That's a different time.
No police involved in this one.
So I think I just said, it's a place that we'd been to other concerts. But actually, I think this was the first time we'd been to the 930 Club.
I think that might be true. Yeah.
And how crazy was it, Sarah? I mean, we're seeing Yazoo, which we never thought we would do, but this was actually the first time we were ever in the same room with Vince Clarke, because even though we had been huge Erasure fans since 85, we never saw Erasure live. So the first time we see Vince Clarke live is with Yaz.
Yeah. Like, really? Because they definitely toured America as Erasure, but we just never saw any of the shows.
Yeah. So that was mind-blowing to see Vince Clarke step out on stage looking so stoic like he always does.
Right, indeed. And it's a small room. I mean, the 930 Club is one of those standing room only kind of places. They've got a couple bars, they've got seats on the sides and stuff. But when we were with standing room only, We were up in the general admission area.
Right. General admission is most of the venue.
Yeah.
So, but we had, we were pretty close to the stage. We got a bunch of good pictures from that show because we were so close. And it was just so incredible seeing Vince in person for the first time. And I love Andy Bell. I love Erasure. I love Andy Bell. There's just something about Alison Moyet. I have always loved Alison Moyet.
Yeah.
That was the first time we ever saw her live, too. We've seen her a couple times since then.
Right.
But getting to see her, and for the first time, she's doing Yaz songs.
Right, which is the first music we ever heard by her, of course.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, it was like a total mind-blown night.
Yeah, I still can't believe we got to do that. And it was real. It really happened. We have photographic proof. We have the ticket stubs, all that stuff.
So I think that I probably went away from that concert wishing like, oh man, maybe because they toured, maybe now like when Andy wants to do his solo albums and things, maybe we'll get another Yaz album.
Yeah.
And that never came to pass. But we did. I sort of credit this concert maybe with kind of sparking Alison to go more in a electronic direction.
I think that's a good observation, yeah.
Which she did with her last couple albums. And as a result, I think that was a great ramification of this tour.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And, that's just my assumption that it tied in with this.
Yeah, seeing the people react so strongly to this music, I'm sure had an impact on her. And, oh, wow, thought maybe I should go back to those electronic roots. But,
right.
Which was, to me, a wonderful change. And I love the electronic albums very much.
Yeah. So if you have the CD, they did release a 2-disc live album called Yaz Reconnected Live, or Yazoo Reconnected Live, I guess, in the UK. If you've got that CD, that is almost the entire show, 20 songs from the set list. But the only thing that you don't know if you've only heard the live album, and there never was a DVD released or a Blu-ray released of it.
No.
It was only released on CD. The one thing you don't get from the CD is that at the end of side 1 or end of CD 1, after Walk Away From Love, which is kind of a new take on that song, that's one of the songs that sounded more modern, like they revamped it a bit. But at the end of that song, they took a little break. Vince had a little table on wheels. Do you remember what he did with that table?
No.
He left his keyboard and he pushed this table out to the center of the stage, and there was a reel-to-reel cassette player on it. And he pushed play, and it started to play I Before E, Except After C, and he just walked off the stage.
Yeah.
And so they took like a 4-minute break while that song played, and we just stood there and watched the tape machine spin.
I do remember that now that you say that. Yeah, that was like very old school kind of thing, because that was in the early days of Depeche Mode. They'd just leave the tape machine, the reel-to-reel machine right up on stage, and make no bones about it. Yeah, we're playing from a tape, and he went one step further and just like, I'm leaving the stage. I'm going to go get a drink or smoke or something.
So that was a very cool song to see live, in quotes. It didn't make it on the live album because it was just
it's just a recording.
Yeah, but it was very fun. People were laughing.
Yeah, the reaction from the crowd was very entertaining too, because everyone's like, yeah, well, what else are you going to do with this one? And he's like, Alison has no place in this one, so... Do you remember one of the other things I remember from the show? The audience was crazy. They were singing and dancing around like crazy people. But I remember up on the side, there was a guy with a shirt. Do you remember the shirt?
I do not. Oh, wait. Yes.
Okay.
It was like a shirt that had Pong on it. But it moved like
right. It was an actual. It was like it lit up and it was animated. Like it was an actual. I'm sure there was some kind of battery operated mechanism on the shirt, and it played. Yeah, it had a video game on it.
Yeah, that's right. And the paddles moved up and down and hit the ball back and forth. Hey, I forgot about that. I was obsessed with that shirt for a little while. I wanted to find one. I think I did see them online, but I never got one.
Yeah, I think they were pretty expensive, understandably. But yeah, that was another fun memory.
Oh, that's crazy that you remember that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, it was so fun to be in the room dancing and singing along with those songs. So many people love that music. Just like a lot of the things we talk about, we don't know a lot of people in our personal circle of friends that know this music. So to be in a room with people that know the music and love the music, and this music in particular, was just so wonderful.
Yeah, I remember looking around the room at all the people, and I was just like, these people just like us have been waiting 30 years to see this concert. And I'm sure no one in here ever expected to see it either.
Yeah, exactly.
And people were just like super happy. It was like a great atmosphere in that room.
Yeah, so much joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah. So we did get a voicemail after our last show.
Oh, cool.
And this is from a podcast celebrity. a name you're going to recognize.
Okay.
A name that I've listened to. I've heard mentioned numerous times and listened to their podcast whenever it is released. I've almost done listening to their entire back catalog, actually. But this is a voicemail from Mr. Gavin Hogg of the Giddy Carousel of Pop.
Excellent.
Highly recommended by me if you are a fan of 80s music podcasts. And here's what Gavin has to say.
Hi, Brian. Hi, Sarah. It's Gavin here from the Giddy Carousel of Pop, the nation's favourite Smash Hits related podcast. And I just wanted to say I love what you two do. I really enjoy it. It's always very entertaining, a lot of fun, and it keeps me company on a lot of long drives around the UK. So thank you very much for what you do. I've been meaning to leave a voicemail for ages, and I'm normally driving and you talk about it, and I always think, yeah, I should do that because you clearly want someone to leave you a message. And then I forget when I get back home to do it. So today I remembered, and I don't have anything more to say, but I just wanted to say hello and keep going. Keep fighting the good fight, people. Bye.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
That's what this is, man. This is a fight each and every week.
It is.
Getting this episode out.
Sometimes it's a battle, yeah. I would say it's a real struggle, get it edited and everything. But yeah, thank you so much, Gavin, for your wonderful message. So good to hear from you. Really appreciate you taking the time. And I totally understand I want to do this. And then when it's the right time to do it, you forget. How many people do that in their daily lives?
Yeah, really. I was always of the opinion that people in the UK, for some reason, don't take long drives. I think that I saw something one time, like somebody from the UK said, like, it's strange to me, like Americans will say, like, I drove 6 hours to go to this place.
Yeah.
Whatever. We never do it. So when he said that he takes long drives, we keep him company on long drives, that like stood out to me as being surprising.
And I wonder what he considers a long drive, comparatively speaking for us, 2 hours. I'd say that's a long drive for us is 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah. It's one where you're ready to get out of the car and stretch your legs when you're done. Obviously, we've done a lot longer ones than that.
So thanks, Gavin. We really appreciate you taking the time to send that message. It was great to hear from you. And we are looking forward to the next episode of the Giddy Carousel of Pop, the nation's #1 Smash Hits focused podcast.
That's right.
It's like whenever we went to London on our honeymoon, Sarah, I had this, I was really excited because the new Brian May solo album had been released and I was going to pick it up. And I had this image of everybody in the UK was excited about it because here in America, nobody cares about Queen, but we see these documentaries that we see how popular they were still in England. So I imagined that this is going to be a big release. And I remember finding it on the shelf at, I think it was Tower Records.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I went up to the young guy that was working at the register and I was super excited. I had it and a couple other things. I put it down and I pointed to it and I said, "How is this album?" He looked at me with this disgusted look at his face and he was like, "I've never heard it."
What are you talking about, old man? I don't listen to this.
But even though I learned a lesson that day, years later it's worn off. And I now, if I think of the UK, I picture almost everybody listening to the Giddy Carousel of Pop. It is the nation's #1 podcast.
Right.
That's how I picture it.
Yeah. Well, they should be, right?
So I hope I don't have to go over there soon and get that illusion shattered because that would be heartbreaking.
Yeah, right.
So speaking of Brian May, that album was called Another World. Just a reminder of some good records that are coming out the next week or two.
Oh.
Don't forget that on next Friday, the Friday after you hear this, April 15th, our friends Brian and Adam in Blacklight have Out of the Void. The remix is coming out.
Ooh.
It's a 2-disc album of remixes from songs on their sophomore album, Into the Void. See what they did? The remix is Out of the Void.
Oh, my goodness.
And I've heard 4 of the mixes, and they all sound awesome. So check that out. And also on the 15th, if you're a fan of the Waterboys, their 15th album is coming out. It's called All Souls Hill.
How about that?
That's not on the 15th. Sorry, that's on the 22nd. It's their 15th album, but that's coming out on the 22nd.
Okay.
Along with Brian May's Gold Series reissue of Another World.
All right.
So those are some albums to keep your eyes open for. Ultimately, Brian May's Another World is not nearly as good as Brian May's Back to the Light. Too many covers on Another World.
Okay.
So I didn't buy the reissue. I'm happy with my original CD version that I picked up on our honeymoon.
Very nice.
So I think that's all I have on my list of stuff.
How about what we're doing this week?
Oh, yeah, right. So I mentioned we're going to New York City again against my better judgment. So why are we going to New York City?
Well, I've twisted your arm, but I think it's for a good cause, another very good cause. We're going to see Aha, where they're Hunting High and Low tour.
It's going to be awesome.
It is, yes, because this is only, I would say, the 3rd time they have played in New York City since the band's inception. They played in 1985, which of course we didn't see, And then they came back in 2010 to play their farewell tour. At least it was the farewell tour at the time. And we did go up to see that. So I'm sure we'll talk about that in a future episode if we keep this feature going. And now they're finally touring again for Hunting High and Low. They're going to do the whole album, and we're going to go see them at Radio City Music Hall on April 12th.
Yeah, so that is going to be awesome. Maybe some other folks are going to be there.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that, and we're so excited about AHA, actually, that we've decided that our next album that we look at, the next regular episode of the podcast that comes out, Sarah, what album are we going to talk about?
Well, it's one that's been in demand for a while and one that we love very much, and we're happy to talk about it. It's the 1986 album, Scoundrel Days.
Ooh, Scoundrel Days. That's the one with the song that really sounds like a James Bond song, even though it's not.
Right. Yep, that's one.
So I'm excited to talk about that. So yeah, next up on the agenda is Scoundrel Days. Looking forward to talking about that. By the time we do it, we will have seen the concert, so we'll give you some info on that.
We'll be on an AHA high, I'm sure.
Yeah, we will be.
Yeah.
So it should be really good. So let us know if you like this kind of short episode where we talk about a concert. I don't know, if I edit this and it sounds good and I think it has some worth, we'll release it. If people like it, maybe we'll do more. I know for sure we'll do one more, so let's reach into this stack of tickets.
Okay, yeah, that is quite the stack.
And we'll just pull one out at random, and that'll be our next show.
Okay.
So let's next talk about Colin Hay, live at the Keswick Theater, April 28th, 2012.
Oh, all right. Gosh, almost 10 years ago exactly.
Yeah, crazy.
That is crazy.
So that's going to be next. Colin Hay.
All right. Well, that should be a good one to talk about.
The man from Men at Work.
Yeah.
Who are touring this summer with Rick Springfield, and we're excited to see him. And of course, it's not really Men at Work. It's Colin Hay and a band, but they'll be focusing on Men at Work songs, so it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for listening. We hope you have a great week. If you're going to be at the AHA show, let us know. Wave across the crowded room. And we'll see you here next time for some AHA discussion.
Can't wait.
Cool.
See ya.